As a senior leader in technology, but also as part of a dual career household, balance between your professional career and aspirations, balanced with your family, is not easy to achieve. I'd love to hear some of your tips for achieving that balance and maintaining it over the course of your career.
Number one is always having a clear calendar. That is number one, especially when there's traveling involved. Both my husband and I do quite a bit of traveling. We always say, okay, if one of us is traveling, the other one has to be here. So having a calendar that's clear, that we understand what are the commitments that we as a family have made, that the kids have, that we are going to participate as a family. And so the second piece is also knowing when to say no. And I think that applies both at work as well as in your personal commitments. You know, knowing when you're just done and you're not going to be able to do that activity or go to that event, and say no. I think when you take a step back, recognizing that nobody's superhuman, and sometimes the choices you make are oriented towards your job, and that at that moment is the priority. And so when you go to that, be fully present as much as possible and be there and be in the moment. And if that is not possible, then you have to check in with yourself and say, I made the wrong decision. And how do you then optimize yourself and how you think and the choices you make?
I do a lot of operations transformation work, and actually tracking how frequently I achieve my personal balance. Number one, I define it quite explicitly in terms of number of nights at home, ability to put the kids to bed at night, and then I do track it more for myself so that I understand how consistently I'm achieving that definition of balance or sustainable. And when something is off, and it's off for a prolonged period of time, maybe I haven't hit my weekly, monthly goal in a while, then I change something pretty dramatically at work to make sure that that balance is more in tune. If you were a young woman coming into a STEM field today, what advice would you want to give your younger self?
I always thought I need to know 100% of this before I open my mouth. And I learned that nobody, especially now when the world changes so fast in tech, nobody will ever know 100% of anything. And so having more confidence and needing less pep talks in pursuing what you're passionate about, and being vulnerable and saying, I don't know that piece, I'm going to go look for it, I'll get back to you in a day. And I think that applies even to us as parents. Now, I try to remind myself that perfection is not required. My kids are not going to measure me on perfection. So I think that applies more broadly than just advice, you know, from a career perspective. And I think the last piece is build the network and relationships. I was going through college very oriented and focused on my schoolwork, spent time in extracurricular activities of all sorts, but I was very oriented towards, here's my goal, I'm going to achieve it, then I'm done, and not really going back and continuing to build that network and the relationships. And so I would say, if I were going back to my younger self, to pause more,